have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged.
I need you to pull the plug.
Sounds to me like you may need to unplug, man.
So you're gonna go unplug? Unplug.
Leave my plug alone!
Time to pull the plug.
Hello, Durham. Welcome to another exciting episode of Durham Unplugged, the show where we get to meet our community leaders in a less than formal setting. I'm your host, Sterling Lee. Today, we have an incredibly special guest. Shannon, I don't normally do this. I'm going to read off your accolades as I have them, and you're actually going to fill me in on ones I've missed.
Oh, boy.
But you're the founder of Oh Yes, an educational organization.
Yeah.
You are the vice president of the Ontario Black History Society.
Yeah.
You're a published author. You're the creator of the Black to Canada podcast, a podcast that tells the untold 400-year history of Black Canadians. And most recently in Durham, you actually led you were kind of the moderator of the anti-Black racism conversation at Durham.
Yes. Yeah. You did a good job. That's good.
So without a doubt, I want to introduce Channon Oyeniran. Did I pronounce that correct?
Oyeniran, you got it.
Oyeniran.
Yeah.
Wow. Where do you find the time? Are you kidding me? That is...
I don't know. I don't know. My husband and I just are go-getters, and we kind of want to just live within our purpose and do what we know we've been called to do. So we just love what we do, and we do it.
You could stop now, and I argue you've already done what you're supposed to do on this planet. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't think stopping is an option for you, correct?
No, definitely not. Oh, there's so much more to be done and to do. Yeah, stopping is not an option right now.
So, one thing I do want to cover is Oh Yes, tell me kind of high level, what is Oh Yes?
Yeah, so my husband and I created Oh Yes. We co-founded it. It's an educational organization. Both him and I are into teaching and education. He's really into leadership. I'm very passionate about teaching Black history, especially Black Canadian history. And we're passionate about helping young people and just everybody really just learn and grow and, find their purpose and what their vision is and help them fulfill that through teaching and speaking and different things.
And what is it like working with your husband?
Oh, it's good. It's good. For the most part, it's good.
Because if my wife and I started a company, we would not only be divorced, one of us would be murdered. And I'm pretty sure just for the record. So I'm just wondering, because I mean, you bring it home, right? Like you guys work together and then
definitely
back home and then doing dishes and laundry. Is that really rewarding for you too? Or what are there must be some challenges, right?
Oh yeah, of course there's challenges, but for the most part it's good. I mean, as you said, we'll be doing dishes and remember something about Oh Yes or something that we have to do, but right. It's rewarding, but it can be interesting to say the least when you're closely
Is he in the room with you right now? Is he in the room with you right now?
No, he's not. He's not.
Blink twice if he's in the same room as you.
Right?
Yeah.
No, he's upstairs.
No, that's
so
that's
good. Good.
That's amazing. And how did you meet your husband? I always want to know these meet cute.
Yeah, so we actually met doing our master's degree in Hull in the United Kingdom in 2010.
Okay.
So he's from Nigeria, and he came from Nigeria to the UK, and I came from here to the UK, and we met at school, church and school, and realized that we lived in the same dorm building and went to the same church, and started off as friends, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Did he make the first move in terms of taking it to the romantic level, or did you make the first move?
He actually knew I was the one. I was just in La La Land, just
right.
friends. I didn't think anything, so he knew, but didn't say anything to me. So it was me kind of coming to the realization a few months later that,
and he was like, finally.
Yeah, it was oh, you got it. Yeah. So him first and then me, but yeah, the rest is history. Here we are, almost 11 years later since we met. But
and how long have you been married for?
We've been married since 2013, July.
Okay.
So 8 years married coming up in July.
That's awesome. And any children?
Oh yes. Oh, two boys.
2 boys. What are their ages?
4 years old, Arolua is his full name, and our 20-month-old is Oluwa Korede. So he's 20 months old. Those are two Nigerian names that we gave our boys.
Yeah, really, those are amazing names. I like names that you don't hear often, to be honest.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes.
those are the best ones, and the
Yeah.
ones that have history to them too.
Yes. Yes.
But okay, now I'm gonna not call you out, but this is even more ridiculous. So you've done all this. I laid off all your things while also
Yeah.
having a 4-year-old and a 20-month-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's
If
kind of
you talk to any of my friends or family or coworkers, I have a 3.5-year-old, so not far
Mhm.
off. He's my excuse for not doing anything. It's like, you know what? I got a toddler. I can't do this. Oh, I didn't read a book. You know what? I got a toddler. You are shutting down all my excuses in life right now, and this is
No.
not cool.
I use them sometimes, but for the most part, things have to get done, so we just do it, yeah, and they kind of add to it sometimes, so
Right.
make it fun. So, I just
And
try my best.
yeah, yes, and I think your best is pretty good. Got it.
Thanks.
Do you guys are gonna stop at 2, or do you guys want like a whole like?
Oh
plan?
no.
Yeah.
2 is it.
That was the perfect
We're
number for
good.
you guys.
2 boys, yeah, we're good. We're absolutely good.
My wife and I always describe we're one and done, right? We just want the one kid and done. And yes, like, everyone's, I had 3 siblings. Amanda had 3 siblings. Everyone's like, oh, don't you want someone to play with?
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, I could also play with the kid. I'm obviously I'm a giant child. But more importantly, I can't imagine the exhaustion of going through this again.
I know, it's a lot. It's really a lot. So after we had our second Oluwa Day, we're just like, we're good. They have each other, we're fine now. Yeah.
And was the second one easier as it normally is, or no?
Not really. My first pregnancy was really like, oh, this is great. I love being
What is everyone talking
pregnant.
about?
I know, like, this is wonderful. And then Corday came. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna switch it up. So I got throwing up and gagging and all that stuff. And I'm like, this must be a girl. It must be a girl. And then we found out it's not. And he gets into everything now, so I can kind of see he's giving me trouble in the womb, and now he's like, yeah, I'm here.
Outside of it, even more trouble.
Yes, yeah. So a little bit different.
Keep an eye on that one. Keep an eye on that one.
Honestly.
So you did your undergrad, I presume, in like GTA. Did you go to Toronto, U of T?
Yep, I went to U of T St. George campus, and then decided.
And what brought you to Hull, UK? Like that's a good program for what you were studying in, or?
Yeah, so I did my master's in slavery studies, and Canada doesn't have a program like that. Maybe now they have similar programs, but back in 2009, 2010, when I was applying, they didn't have anything like that. So I thought to myself, this is my chance to just travel a bit more, do a program that I wanted to do and learn more about a topic that I wanted to, learn more about. And took me to the UK. So it was a great year. As you can see, I met my husband.
Right.
Lifelong friends. So it was a good year. And
were you raised in Ajax, or were you raised?
So I was born in Scarborough, and we moved to Ajax when I was 8.
Okay.
And so I'm an Ajax girl through and through. Right now,
and you convinced someone from Nigeria not just to come back to Canada, not to come back to Ontario, not even Toronto, but Ajax, Ontario.
Yes, Ajax is wonderful.
I know. I agree. Yeah. But that must have been quite like, it's not even big city, Canada. We're going to go to in a sense, small town Canada, right? Or medium-sized town Canada.
Well, you know what was good? Hull in the United Kingdom, where we did our masters, really reminded me of Ajax when I went there. I was like, this is lovely. Right. Like, Ajax kind of has a big feel, but it's still small. Yes. Like that vibe I got in Hull. And I'm like, this is great. So my husband Solomon he went there and he's like, okay, I like this city. So coming to Ajax was no problem. And I told him about it. So when he finally got here, he's like, okay, I see what you mean. We both love Ajax. We're actually in Pickering right now, but we're trying to
get out. This podcast is over now.
I know, but we're trying to move back, Sterling. But the house prices.
Yes, I know. It's listen, my wife and I are priced out of every single house right now.
Yeah.
we were talking about the ridiculousness because I sold my condo in about
Mhm.
2013, 14 when I
Okay.
moved to Ajax,
Okay.
and we're just renting right now.
Mhm.
But you know, like when you sell anything, there's like conditions you have to meet,
Yes.
and it's very basic, right?
Yes.
That was maybe like I said, 7 years ago.
Mhm.
Now, like no conditions seems to
Yeah.
be the absolute minimum bar.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you can buy this, and it's like termites, or there's a
Yes.
dead body in here,
Right?
and nobody cares at this point. That is madness to me.
It's so ridiculous. My mom thankfully still lives in Ajax. I'm literally in Ajax every day. It's like I
Right.
never left. I'm
Yeah.
always there. I do my shopping there. I'll bypass Pickering, all the stores in Pickering, and go to Ajax and shop. It's home.
Well,
to
they don't
me.
have a Costco first and foremost, right? I mean, that's all us,
Exactly.
baby. That's all
That's
us.
important, right?
Right.
Yeah, Ajax is just home. So we're trying to get back, but we'll come back at the right time. So,
Sure, of course.
yeah.
Um, and I mentioned how you're the vice president of the Ontario Black History Society.
Yeah.
And it said on the website you were the first vice president.
Yes, so we have two. Well, not first, as in the first of the first. Like we have two vice presidents. So
Okay.
I'm the first vice president, and then Mahuli Chai is the second vice president, and Natasha Henry is the president. So,
So what is a first vice president versus the second vice president?
nothing really. There's no differentiation, but I guess, in terms of
Is it like the president and the vice president of the United States, where you have to both travel in like different planes, so that if one person goes down, like you always have a vice president,
kind of,
because that's
right?
very organized.
And then if I go down,
Right, vice versa.
next
They
in
step in.
line, the
Yeah, exactly.
second
There's
vice
succession.
president's
There's
there.
succession.
Exactly. So no real difference, but yeah, they just in the Constitution want to have two.
And how did you? I mean, obviously your studies brought you have very
Mhm.
like deep history, a lot of insight. What brought you to the Ontario Black History Society?
You know what? After coming back from the UK, I just wanted to be more involved in local organizations about Black history. So I just did a Google search, found the Ontario Black History Society, started volunteering with them in terms of going to different schools to speak, and that was in 2014. And then I became a member. And then in 2017, I was asked if I'd consider running for a position on the board. So yeah, so it's been wonderful. I'm so thankful to them and grateful to be a part of the exec and the Ontario Black History Society. So they've been around for a long time. They've been
Yeah.
around for a long time.
It's just I the reason I ask is a lot of young people will always ask, how do you get involved? How do you get into like these positions, whether it's counselor, vice president, or the BHA, whatever? And really, it always starts the same. Just start volunteering, start being a
Exactly.
presence, and
Yes.
start putting the work in.
Yes.
And I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm a very safe guess. These past 7 years kind of flew by from you, from volunteer to VP.
I really had to look back. I was looking back in my email at the first email I sent to them to like, can I volunteer? Like, is there anything that I can do? And it was in February of 2014. And I was like, oh my gosh, like time has
7
just
years
flown.
later, you're now first vice president, right?
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. It's been a wonderful journey so far. So yeah.
And of course, you think you'll make the progression to president eventually?
Maybe we'll see. I mean, that's
Miss
I
Henry
think
better
that's-
watch out, is what you're saying.
No,
You better watch out. No, I'm kidding. I know you guys are friends.
we're friends. I love Natasha dearly. She's
Right.
been an inspiration to me. But maybe we'll see.
You're open
we'll
to it.
see. I'm open, but we'll see what happens. You never know, right?
And of course, we can find your book on Amazon right now, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. So my husband and I wrote a book called Live, Love, Learn, Grow. And that was 2016, 2017. And my husband has come out with a book of his own, The Power of Vision. And I'm currently writing a children's book, a middle grade book, Black history in Canada. It's actually a series, but I'm coming out with book one, hopefully by September, about time travel. And it's based on my 4-year-old, and he gets to meet different Black history figures around.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. So I'm coming out with that hopefully soon. So
Now, so you both wrote a book together, like you said.
yes.
And then at one point your husband says, you know what? I got to ditch the dead weight. Honestly, you've been holding me back all this time. I'm going to go solo. How did that conversation go? Where you're like, excuse me, you better be dedicating this to me. I better be getting royalties, sir. You do not leave me, but this is a partnership. And by the
Well,
way, this happens 24 hours because you guys work together and then live
yeah.
together afterwards.
No, we always, I mean, we support each other. So
Right.
his research for this book has been going on for like 6 years. So I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. The pandemic really gave us, or gave him, an opportunity to like sit
Just
down
dial
and
down and
write it
focus into it, right?
and really, put together all the data and the research that he's done over the 6 years. So I knew
Okay.
it was coming.
And
But we share
just to show
everything.
you, I'm going to write a children's novel and you'll have
Sure.
nothing to do with it, okay?
Sure,
Dedicated
no.
to everybody in the world, ... except Solomon.
I love it. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And when do you think that children's book will be out?
I'm hoping September or at the end of the year. I want it to be out in time for Black History Month.
Right.
2020. I mean, obviously it can be released at any time because Black history is Canadian history.
As always, yeah.
But it'd be nice to kind of have it go along with that. So yeah, it's with the editor, and I'm, gonna make a few more changes, and I found an illustrator. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
And time travel is a really unique way to write children's literature. It's a pretty heady concept. Have you always been interested in sci-fi, or you just, as a narrative, that's just the easiest way to branch into the past?
Kind of both. I've always said that if I like got to go back in time and meet somebody, it'd always be like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and just sit down and have a conversation with him. So I've always, obviously, history and then going back in time. So I'm like, okay, traveling back in time seems to be something fun, and you can make it, adventurous for children. So yeah.
I'm a bit of a sci-fi nerd, just so you know. So like when this person goes back in time, does he change the future then just by going back in time?
No, it's
Okay,
not that.
good.
It's more, well, no, it's more he learns about,
Which is changing the future, right?
yes, it's more learning about the past and what it was like, and history, so that when he comes back to the present time, it's like, okay, I now see the importance of this, and
Right.
Yeah, so.
And what age do you think? You said middle schools. This is like
Yeah,
10, 11-year-olds?
Yeah, about 8 to 11,
Okay.
around that age range. So yeah, it's going to be a chapter book, actually, with a few illustrations here and there.
We take Finn, my 3.5-year-old, to the library often, and we get these like illustrated history books, and one's on MLK, and it's just funny how like because he's only 3.5, so it's really a picture book, how like you really can't go into like anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You can't really say anything about his life, right?
Yes.
All of a sudden it's just, and in the end, MLK is no longer with us. Like, it's assassinated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you really can't. So it was just interesting. And then the very first book I remember reading in grade 4 was a biography on MLK, but it was like obviously like the junior biography.
Yes, yes.
That's how I got exposed to like all that whole like the civil rights in a sense in grade 4.
Yeah.
So I think it's much needed what you're providing right now. There's definitely a need of it.
Yeah.
Getting kids into this type of history at an earlier age.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially when I do, speaking engagements at different schools around the GTA, and I ask the kids, okay, what do you know about Black history? And they name out Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks. And I'm like,
Malcolm X.
So on the inside, I'm like, what about the Black Canadian history?
Right.
Like, we have over 400 years. But on the outside, I'm like, okay, that's great. But did you know about, Josiah Henson or Marianne Shadd Carey or, Harriet Tubman's connection to Canada, right? So I try to give them that Black Canadian history because there's a lot of it. There's over 400 years.
Oh, 100%. And you have a like a podcast dedicated to that, which
I do.
We will get. I mean, let's get into it now.
Yeah.
So, you started it, I think, in January of this year, right?
Yes. I started it in January, but it's been an idea for the past 2 or 3 years. But I'm doing my PhD, so I don't know if I told you.
Gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought I told you.
Speaker series, book. You're always on the media, author, 2 kids. And now, just I thought I'd do my PhD. But honestly, I had a few minutes extra on the side, and I was like,
Oh
what
my
else am I
gosh.
gonna do?
I know. I'm sorry.
Congratulations. No.
Hey,
I am obviously joking, but
I know.
that's incredible. PhD
Hey.
in Black History Studies, or
So I'm doing it in human geography. So I'm looking at the Black diaspora in Canada.
okay.
That's what my research is. I want to kind of look at the relationships between the Black diaspora, those coming from the Caribbean, those who
Mhm.
have been here for, centuries, and then those maybe coming from the continent of
Yeah.
Africa and their relationships with each other. So yeah, I'm doing that. But what I meant to say, why I brought that up, is I had a class last semester where we had to do like a creative project. So I decided to do a bit like a podcast episode and submit it as part of my assignment. So from then, and then the feedback I got from my professor, I'm just like, you know what, let me just launch this. It's been a couple years in the making. I did this assignment. I really enjoyed doing it. So I decided to
And
launch
obviously,
it.
you saw the success of this podcast, and we're like, honestly, no, I'm kidding.
No,
There is
Sterling,
no success.
no, this is amazing what you're doing. I love this. I love that you're doing this and talking to people in the community, Durham residents, and it's good. So thank you again for having me on.
No, honestly, again, we have never really spoken until today. But honestly, it feels like I've known you for years.
Yeah.
We our paths kind of crossed because of
Mm,
it was the June 15th meeting at AJ Council, and all of a
yes.
sudden I was getting tons of support. So you're just one of the supporters who reached out to me and
Yes.
just said, "Hey, thanks so much for just
Yes.
speaking our truth." And
Yeah.
it was it's not my truth to speak. It had to be said, so I'm glad I said it. And one of the positive byproducts of that conversation was just being connected to a lot of leaders.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you and we might not have, our paths might have incidentally connected, but I'm glad you connected
Yeah.
back then, and then I was able to follow a
Exactly.
lot of what you're doing. So again,
Yeah.
it's fascinating to know that I never thought I'd be having these kind of conversations in
Mhm.
Durham. I mean, I'll
Mhm.
be very honest. Like before I moved to Durham, I had a very
Mhm.
stereotypical image of what Durham region was. It was a
Yes.
lot of so white people, and it was
Yeah.
just like working class, and that was kind of it. And now coming here and
Yes.
being able to have these conversations with educated people like yourself, and all
Mhm.
these, it's been such a privilege, I find, and it's really opened my eyes up to the importance of these conversations, and
Yes.
how really it doesn't matter where you are in the world,
Mhm.
these conversations have to happen, right?
Exactly, exactly. There's so many amazing people in the Durham region, so many great things that are happening that people are doing. And it's just to see the betterment of the region, right? And the community.
Mankind in general, or like just
Yeah,
humanity in general. Like it's important
exactly.
to.
Exactly.
I've said this enough that anyone who watches is
Hmm.
sick of this. Civil rights should be done by now in terms of just like racial
I know.
relations. From
Yeah.
the late 50s to now, and we're still having these
Yeah.
conversations,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
know.
incredibly frustrating.
Very
Let alone
frustrating.
for me, I can't even believe for the Black community who's
Yeah.
screaming at the top of your lungs,
We've been
stop killing
screaming.
us, just stop. Let's
Yeah.
start with
Yeah.
that and then
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
backwards from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It.
people will still justify
Yeah.
their racist beliefs, and it's
Yeah.
incredibly insulting to read. I can't even
Mhm.
to experience. Well, actually, I'm kind of experiencing it now, to be honest, with all this anti-Asian racism that we're now
Yes,
seeing.
yes, I know.
Because and
Because of ignorance too, right?
yep.
Like people, it's pure ignorance. Like just thinking, relating it back to the coronavirus and all that. People are just being ignorant.
Well, I have a friend who explained to me yesterday. He does a lot of
Mhm.
diversity inclusion,
Okay.
and he was saying that Donald Trump didn't make these people racist.
Oh no, they were
No, no.
already they already
They were already there.
they were already
He
there.
emboldened them
Yep.
to share their opinions out loud to anybody who would listen. But
Exactly.
let's
Yeah.
not fool ourselves into thinking racism was gone and then was brought to
Oh
light because Donald
goodness.
Trump. No, like
Oh
it was
no.
in the shadows, and unfortunately, like I think it's just all
Mhm.
these people will go back into the shadows, and then so
Yep.
I'm doing my best, and obviously you're doing your best of just like breaking down these walls, breaking down these stereotypes,
Yes.
explaining why. I get it was a joke to some people, but that joke is actually
Mhm.
incredibly harmful for whatever
Exactly,
reasons. And
exactly.
yeah,
Yep. Because it's people's lived experience, right?
yeah,
And when you're hurting people and talking about people's lived experience that we have to experience daily, we're just us, right? We can't help the color of our skin. We love it, but like we're just being us. So it's really just yeah, it's racism is just
well, I
it's
often get too. It's
so
just like, well,
angry.
Sterling, how come you're allowed making those jokes? And it's just like one of the key things is I always felt the need to make those jokes to fit in, to
Yes.
show that look, I can make fun of
Yeah.
myself, and
Yeah.
that in itself is just like perpetuating this issue. But it's just like I'm not blaming society for putting me in that position, but people ask, why did you make those jokes when you're younger? It's just like because I didn't fit in. And
Exactly.
I felt I had to do this extra step that
Just to fit. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, hopefully my son and your sons won't have to get to that point, but
I hope so. Yeah.
the struggle will obviously continue.
Yeah, but we do what we can, and we move forward, and we try to educate and really change people's mindsets, and hopefully that will continue to
Open some minds, right?
yeah.
So really, so just bringing it back to a lighter tone, your podcast is just your PhD research, and you're just verbalizing it in a sense, right?
Yeah, it's my research. It's like articles I've written for the Canadian Encyclopedia, from Historica Canada. It's like the largest digital encyclopedia. So I've written some articles for them. So it's just taking that information and just sharing it with everybody in this format.
So you've written for encyclopedias as well.
Yes, I have.
I am feel so much shame right now.
No, don't.
All I do is watch TV. I play some video games. I watch movies.
I literally wish that I could do that. There are some
you don't have time.
I don't. Sometimes I do. I try to make time. It's about balance, right? I like to, just watch.
Well, tell me, Shannon, tell me about yourself. Like, okay, so you have a very comprehensive work life.
Yes.
I imagine takes 23 out of 24 hours. But that gives you 1 hour a day. What do you like to do outside of work?
Oh boy, when traveling's back open again, love to travel, love to spend time with my family.
Where's the coolest place you've been?
Oh, there's been a lot. Ecuador, maybe. I went to Ecuador.
Okay.
That was pretty cool.
What was the coolest part about it? Was it the food? Was it the culture?
It was the people. It was the beauty of the country. I tried to learn how to surf while there.
No.
It didn't work.
I
very well.
tried the same thing too. And they give you the world's largest surfboard for beginners, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that makes sense because I can't even balance. But my surfing consisted of me just putting that board to do and just wherever the wave it carried me like 5 miles down from where I started. What am I gonna do? Control it?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was pretty, interesting. Didn't work out, but it was good. So Ecuador's been good, and I love to travel and hang out with my family and watch Netflix.
What are you guys watching on Netflix?
Oh goodness!
You have a 4-year-old, right?
I have a 4-year-old.
There's a lot of PJ Masks and
PJ Masks. What's the other one? Paw Patrol. The 20-month-old Corday is getting into Paw Patrol too, and keeps repeating Marshall's name. I know, right? So
Rubble is my least favorite one. If you're asking, like,
really?
I get he's a bulldog and he's the cutest.
But
if you actually look at who solves the day, Rubble does very little to help that team.
I know he doesn't. He's kind of just there. But
and the PJ Masks, they're awake during the day, and then at night the entire town goes to sleep, and these kids are fighting crime.
Right, and then they have to get up and go to school the next day.
They're not getting their prescribed 10 hours. Is all I'm saying. This is a flaw. All right.
So lots of Paw Patrol and lots of PJ Masks. But I try to watch my own, like documentaries. My husband and I like to watch documentaries and Nollywood movies. I love Nollywood, Nigerian movies.
Is there like the first time I ever heard the phrase Nollywood, to be honest. That's
Sterling, you gotta do some research on Nollywood.
What should I be watching? What's a big Nollywood film? What's the biggest Nollywood film?
I don't know the biggest, but one that I like. But it's a rom-com. Like I don't know if you like.
No, between you and I am a sissy. Okay, I am the biggest sissy you've ever been in your life. I openly weep during movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then you gotta watch The Wedding Party, and then there's The Wedding Party 2.
Okay.
And then one came out a couple weeks ago, or maybe last month, called Namaste Wahala. So it's about a Nigerian woman and an Indian man who come together, and
Now is that a Nolly Bollywood film then? Is there like dancing?
I think it is.
That's awesome.
Full of dancing, singing. You'll like that one. So those are like my top three favorite. So check
Have you
those
been
out.
able to go back to Nigeria with your husband?
I have. I've been back 3 times. I've been there 3 times. Yeah.
That's great.
So really surreal experience. I remember going the first time and landing and walking out of the airport, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the motherland. I'm here. Like, this is it, right? It really reminds me of Jamaica too. So my family's Jamaican.
Okay.
So when I got to Nigeria, I'm like, oh, this is like Jamaica. I feel right at home. So
Right.
it was good. Yeah.
What is I'm actually unfamiliar with Nigeria. I mean, obviously I know it's a country. Is there like a big touristy attraction of Nigeria? Like when you go to Jamaica, you gotta go to like Dunn's Rivers
River
Falls
yeah.
and Rick's Cafe, like that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
What is the Nigerian equivalent to that?
Well, Nigeria's so big, but definitely Lagos. You have to go to Lagos. Lagos used to be the capital, but it's now Abuja. But Lagos is like literally the largest city in Nigeria. I don't know if there's any, I think every state kind of has their own, touristy
things,
and
right?
different parks and amusement parks and resorts and things like that. It's a beautiful country. But yeah, I want to go back, of course. My husband's from there and his family's there, and yeah, just travel around a bit more.
All these jerks not wearing masks and making it hard for us to get back.
I know.
To traveling.
Oh, it's annoying, but hopefully soon we'll get to. Hopefully.
So one thing I always do whenever I travel, and it's really, some people collect postcards, some people collect magnets. I go to the McDonald's of every country that I've been in and try and eat like their signature burger. Like that is the most like quote unquote American thing I have. But it's just like I'm like, what is your take on McDonald's?
Yes.
And so because I don't think Jamaica they had they called it the fish premier sandwich, and I was very excited for this. I was like, all right, here we go.
Oh.
And really what it was a filet-o-fish with 2 fish patties.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But I was kind of like, oh, okay, not too crazy.
Yeah.
I remember in South Korea, they had a bulgogi burger where they use like that. Just like I just like tasting their McDonald's to see the differences.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I normally do postcards. I'm a postcard.
Do you send them or you just collect them?
No, I just collect them. I don't know if you could kind of see in the background. I have a few up in my little bookcase.
I do.
Yeah. So whenever I go somewhere, I get postcards just to have them.
And have your kids gone with you to like intense traveling, like far?
Ara has gone to Nigeria with us, and he's
what was it like? How old was he when you flew?
Oh, we went in 2018, so he was about 2.5.
So just past the age where he's free.
Yeah, I know.
But not quite at the age where he's not gonna cry. So was he crying the whole time? Was he okay?
Yo, he was good. He was wonderful. Okay. He went to the back. My husband took him to the back with the flight attendants. They were passing him around because he was so cute.
Of course.
We have video of it. No, he was really, really good.
Coffee, tea, baby.
Right. Yeah.
I'll take the baby.
Baby for you. Yeah. No, he was good. Not crying the whole time.
And how long is that flight? It'd probably stop over somewhere in the UK.
Yeah.
And then down?
So we stopped in London, and then from London over to. Did we land in? I think it was Lagos. We landed in.
Is it like 13 hours then, or?
Oh,
it's 5 to London, right?
Yeah. Oh, a little bit more. About 6, 7, and then about 10-ish, 10 to 11.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the first time I went, I'm like, oh, why is it so long? But it was so worth it. My Solomon was still in Nigeria. He hadn't come to Canada yet, so.
Okay.
It was worth it to see him.
Of course.
Like, oh my gosh, this is a long flight. So
wait, so you went solo with a baby?
No. This was before Ara. So my first time to Nigeria to visit Solomon.
Right.
Ara wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't here.
I was like, you are the bravest.
Oh gosh,
all your accomplishments. Flying solo for 17 hours.
I wouldn't. We actually have a family friend who did that. Who came to Canada in December. With her 1-year-old. Her husband is over here in the pandemic wearing a mask, and she traveled all that way. She stopped in Ethiopia and then from Ethiopia over here. So I feel for her. I take my hat off because I couldn't do that. That's a lot. Yeah.
I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it, to be honest. Like I'm all tense up and just like you have to hope that kid is having their best day of their life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And literally a whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah.
On to nicer things. On to nicer things. And so you're watching PJ Masks, some and are these Nollywood films? Are they on Netflix?
Yeah, a lot of them are on Netflix, so you can check them out.
I will definitely. Is The Wedding Party and Wedding Party 2 on Netflix?
The Wedding Party, I think The Wedding Party 2 is now there too, so you should be able to watch both films.
Okay.
And then you know how they give you the suggested
Yes.
videos underneath, so then that will
Just follow that
open up-
rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Follow
that will
rabbit hole.
open up your world, Sterling, to all the Nollywood.
I can't wait.
No, it's really good. It's good.
I just want to talk very quickly of just like being a Black ambassador, so to speak, right? Which is in a sense like you've become this very prominent voice in Canada of just like Black history issues, Black issues. You know, I think talking to you, I don't think you ever set out to do that per se. Like you had the education, so you're the subject matter expert. But do you feel like an added pressure of, you know, representing all these not unheard voices now? Like, tell me about that experience.
I don't think I have that pressure yet, so to speak.
Okay.
It's even as you're saying it, I'm just like, okay. Right? Like
You're like, I'm feeling it now. I wasn't before.
I just think I just try to focus and maintain what I'm passionate about and what I want to see accomplished in my community, and I just do it. If I'm, you know, inspiring or influencing people, that's like extra and a bonus for me, but I'm just really just setting out to change and be purposeful with what I have to say and just doing it and just getting things out there and getting people educated. So I don't feel that pressure yet, but maybe I will.
I mean, no, please don't. No. I think, you know, like just having seen you speak and the podcast, and you have a very natural cadence to it.
Thank you.
It makes people want to listen, which is good because obviously you have a very direct and positive message. So just keep it up. Like it's very important, especially now more than ever. I hate, you know, I always wish this podcast is more just like you and me just hanging out. But I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about these issues that we're still experiencing now and the importance of these issues. And, you know, I still want things to be light and breezy, but at the same time, though, let's also bring light to this issue that's ongoing and different perspectives of how we can change it and what we can do. So, I mean, like, you know, we're in Durham region. They had that mishap with the Black History Month. What are some positive changes you want to see within the region? Because I think when that question was, a version of that question was asked, as the moderator, you in a sense asked, you know, the 7 people around you. I don't think you got a chance to answer. So I'm wondering from your perspective, what are some things you think we should be doing?
I think representation is so important. So, I mean, if we can, you know, just see people like me who look like me in, you know, different leadership roles and different positions within the region and within, you know, the different cities and towns that we have, I think that would make such an important, you know, difference. And I mean, my main mandate, as well as the Ontario Black History Society, is that we want to see Black history taught in our schools. Now, I know that goes up to the different levels of government and, you know, sometimes school boards can't really do too much. But I think having Black history in our schools from a young age, like we spoke about before, is so important, right? It would make the world of difference for children to know about different people and cultures and not think it's weird or funny or, you know, like that's weird. I'm not used to that, but they would have an appreciation about different people and different cultures and the history and how we all came to Canada and built this country, right? So I think education is key if we can do more in the region. And I think we're doing that. I think, you know, I've seen steps being taken to educate and have these conversations and representation and just to highlight the amazing talent and leadership and people that we have in the region of Durham, because there's a lot. There's a lot of us, right? It doesn't matter what community, you know, they're from. We literally, like yourself, like there's so many voices that need to be heard that are doing amazing things. And as we said, right, for the good of the community and for the good of mankind, so that we can just be a better world, you know? Yeah, so I think those are my 2 things that I'd love to see.
And what is next for Channon? So you have the book coming out probably in September-ish before Black History Month 2022. What else is going on with you?
Yeah, just school. I
Right,
just
the
continuing
PhD.
with school, the PhD.
When is that? When is your? Is it dissertation you do at the end
Yep.
or?
So
Right.
I'll do my dissertation hopefully in 2024. Yeah,
Okay.
2024. I do my comprehensive exams to see if I can even go on to do my research and dissertation. So that will be hopefully by January. Yeah, the podcast and just continue to be a part of different, projects that really, yeah, put forward Black history and anti-Black racism and how we can fight that and, dismantle that. So yeah, lots of different little projects, but I'm excited. So
100%. And
yeah.
just in 2024, I'm gonna call you the doctor now going forward. I
Oh,
think I
oh
have to,
boy.
right? You got to throw that everywhere you go.
Yeah, I kind of call me Shannon. Yes, I worked for it and I would have worked for it, but I'm just Shannon. I'm just
The
doing what I
doctor.
can.
How about Shannon? The doctor.
I like that better, actually.
Yeah, I like that too. Right, Shannon, the doctor.
The doctor.
So smooth. So smooth.
I love it.
So I don't want to take up. You've been very generous with your time. But I really
Oh,
appreciate
it's
that.
been wonderful.
So we always like to do plugs in terms of just what's
Yeah.
maybe a nonprofit you want to bring light to, something that you've done work with.
Yeah, nonprofit. Of course, I'm going to highlight the Ontario Black History Society. A lot of people, when I talk to them about it, they're like, I didn't know. And we've been in existence since 1978, I believe. So we've been around, and a lot of people don't know about us. So get involved, volunteer, become a member. We have different events throughout the year. Yeah,
When did you say? When did you say you started?
2014.
No. When did you say the Black History? I just want to see if you got the date right.
Sorry.
When did the OBHS start? What year?
Was it?
You were unsure when you said it.
No, 1978.
You are correct.
Right? Yes. Okay. There's a lot of dates running around. I'm like,
the second VP was just like, oh, she got it wrong. I'm up. I get moved up.
She's stuttering. I gotta get ready.
I get the bump.
I had to do my math. I'm like, okay, wait, yes, 42. Yep. Yeah.
Just
1978.
You got it. You passed. Okay, so yeah, that's a very
yes,
that's
Ontario
an amazing
Black
one, for
History
sure.
Society. Yes. Definitely get involved with that.
And then maybe a local restaurant in Durham. Obviously the restaurants are having a hard time. Any good restaurant you've tried, Lily?
Yes. Tropical Delight Eatery. The address is 465 Bailey Street West.
465 Bailey?
Yep, Bailey Street West, Unit 5 in Ajax.
It's obviously Caribbean food?
Caribbean food, wonderful Caribbean food.
What should one get there when they go?
I mean, if one eats pork, jerk pork is amazing. It's absolutely wonderful. The dumplings, jerk chicken, oxtail, everything. And they have this nice hibiscus fruit drink that you got to try. Carmen and her husband, who are the owners, they make this wonderful drink. So you got to try that as well. Yeah.
It's the one positive byproduct of being Chinese, I find, is that my parents fed me like everything. A lot of people, when they hear oxtail, they're just like, oh, ox.
I know.
I salivate when I hear ox now.
Oh my
I've never had ox prepared poorly. It's just phenomenal. It's a tougher meat, but it's just so flavorful when you bite down on it.
When you cook it right,
yes, of course,
like it even falls off the. You got to try
it. Chef's kiss.
Yes.
And where can people find you on social media or website?
Yeah, so social media at Looking Back Into, and that's for Twitter and Instagram, or you can follow my personal page. So Looking Back Into is my Black History Month program that I host every year.
Okay.
So people can follow me there, or at Channon Oyeniran, ChanonOyeniran, and that's on Instagram and Twitter as well. And then oyeseducation.org/Shannon. If you want to learn more about me or book me to speak at your company or organization or school on Black history in Canada. So yeah.
Because of course you have time to do speaking engagements.
Well,
what else are you doing right now?
Except
for everything else. Some days I struggle. Some days I struggle to book a guest and then have the podcast edited and ready to go. Are you guys weekly with your pod? No, I think you're every 2 weeks, right?
We're bi-weekly, but I actually, so we put out an episode last Monday on its regular schedule, and then I actually got in touch with an author who wrote a children's book about the Chatham Colored All-Stars, which was Ontario's first all-black baseball team.
Okay.
And yeah, we jumped on a call on Thursday, and I put out his episode today, so it's like a bonus episode, and then I have another episode coming out on Monday, and then I'm gonna do
bonus episode. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I can't even keep my schedule now.
And then the regular one is next Monday, April the 5th. And then I'll do one more for season 1. And then I'll take a little bit of a break and, and then come back with season 2.
A break meaning 24 hours.
No, I'll literally do a couple months break because I want to gather all more stories and
right.
all that stuff. So bi-weekly, but, we have a bonus episode today that everyone should check out. Black
100%.
Canada. Yeah.
100%. We'll again, the podcast is the Black to Canada podcast.
Yes.
We have Shannon, the ... soon to be doctor. And sorry, I'm going to try and pronounce it. Oyeniran.
Yep. Oyeniran. Yeah.
So it's more like air, AIR.
Yeah.
Oyeniran. And sorry, I have to. What does that mean?
Oyeniran.
Yeah.
So it's like kingdom, royalty. My husband.
His name is Solomon Oyeniran, like King of Kings, is what you're saying.
Like it means like
King
royalty.
of the Kingdom.
Like there's royalty and kingdom and royalty in his last name. And then I didn't tell you my son's name. So Arolua means the signs and wonders of God. And then Olua Korede means God brings us, or God gives us blessings and joy and peace and all good things.
You are putting too much pressure on those kids. Okay. How can you live up to that name? How can you live up to that name?
They will live up to it. They will. Right. We believe that they will. Yeah. So yeah.
Is there any significance to Shannon? CHANNON?
No,
No, it just means Shannon.
My mom just liked the name. There's a Shannon River in Ireland.
There it is. There it is.
So,
and I heard it's the best river in Europe.
Exactly. And so, other than that.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, we just really had our first conversation today.
Yeah.
But it feels like I've known you for a very long time.
I know.
We'll have you back in future seasons again.
Please,
we got the doctor.
I would love
You're the doctor. We got to have the doctor back.
Oh boy.
You're the only one who's done their PhD or doing their PhD. So right now you have that distinction. Folks, you can follow me at stick around before and I'll say goodbye properly. But you can find me at Your Voice for Ajax, the number 4, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you're on the YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. The numbers definitely help. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you next time on Durham Unplugged.